Two former Savannah police officers now facing criminal charges.
And another one gone, and another one gone, another one bites the dust.
Blue Line Betrayal. Police officers who face criminal charges for their lies and deception and now find themselves facing a judge. Welcome back to the Junkyard News. In this video news story, two former Savannah police officers who have been indicted by a grand jury, Ashley Wood and Dale Repress, both have been indicted in two separate cases. And those charges have now turned the local justice system on its heels. Police officer lies, the repercussions can be far-reaching and severe, affecting various aspects of the justice system, individual lives, and an already shattered public trust even more than it already is. When an officer lies under oath in an effort to gain a conviction, even when a person is innocent and the officer knows the person is innocent, their lies and false testimony can lead to these innocent individuals being wrongfully convicted and incarcerated.
The charges now levied against Wood stem from several murder cases that she was the lead investigator in. Now she faces 8 felony counts, including perjury and violation of oath. Wood is accused of making false statements when getting arrest warrants against suspects in a couple of murder cases. One of those suspects, Marquis Parrish, was behind bars for nearly 2 years before having his murder charges dropped when Wood came under investigation. Another person named in the indictment who Wood is accused of making false statements against, Victor McMiller, who you may remember was found not guilty of murder last year. His lawyer at the time pointing to Woods' alleged misconduct for lying during that investigation.
This not only destroys the lives of the wrongfully convicted, but also allows the actual perpetrators of the crime to remain free. Now, we all know the public trust in police is at an all-time low, and public confidence in the police and the broader justice system relies on the integrity and honesty of law enforcement officers. When police officers lie, it severely damages this trust, what little is left of it, making community members less likely to cooperate with police or believe in the fairness of the system itself. If it is discovered that a police officer lied during an investigation or trial, it can lead to the dismissal of cases, overturn previous convictions, as well as the collapse of ongoing investigations. This undermines the effectiveness of the criminal justice system. Lies by police officers can also result in serious civil rights violations, including unlawful arrests, illegal searches and seizures, and excessive use of force. Victims of such misconduct may face lasting physical, emotional, and financial harm. Not to mention, the municipalities can face significant financial repercussions due to the lawsuits and settlements resulting from police misconduct, especially when an officer is found to have intentionally lied to gain a conviction. Taxpayers often bear the burden of these costs, which can amount to millions and millions of dollars. Now, police officers who are proven to have lied can face disciplinary actions, including suspension, termination, and decertification, which prevent them from working in law enforcement again in the future. Additionally, they may face criminal charges for perjury or obstruction of justice. Not to mention, if an officer is proven to have lied under oath, it can have an impact on other police around the country. When one officer lies, it can tarnish the reputation of the entire police department or law enforcement as a whole, impacting the moral of other officers and leading to a culture of cynicism and mistrust within the police force. Lies and cover-ups by police officers can hinder efforts to implement reforms aimed at improving police practices and accountability. It can also stall necessary policy changes designed to protect citizens' rights and enhance community police relations. And let us not forget the emotional and psychological toll officers' lies can have on the victim of the lies themselves. Victims of police lies, as well as their families, can suffer severe emotional and psychological distress. The trauma of a wrongful accusation, a wrongful arrest, or even imprisonment can have long-lasting effects on mental health and the well-being of the innocent people. Addressing the issue of police dishonesty does require robust accountability mechanisms, transparent investigations, and a commitment to upholding ethical standards within law enforcement agencies. Ensuring that officers who lie are held accountable is essential for maintaining justice and rebuilding the public trust. And as an example, we have two former Savannah police officers who have been indicted by a grand jury. Former officer Ashley Wood and Daryl Repress have both been indicted in 2 separate cases. The charges against Ashley Wood stem from a murder case she was the lead detective in. She now faces 8 felony counts, including perjury and violation of oath. Wood is accused of making false statements when getting an arrest warrant against suspects in a couple of murder cases. One of those suspects, Mr. Parrish, was behind bars for nearly 2 years before having his murder charges dropped when Wood came under investigation. Another person, named in the indictment, who Wood is accused of making false statements against, was found not guilty of murder last year. His lawyer pointed to Wood's alleged misconduct for lying during that investigation. The district attorney, Shalana Cook-Jones, said several serious murder and shooting cases have now been compromised, and the accused actions of these former officers could lead to a miscarriage of justice. Now, you may or may not know that Wood was fired from the Savannah Police Department last year. In December, records show she was demoted to a civilian position within the city, so she still works for the city. And a spokesman did confirm that the city of Savannah says Wood is still an active employee, although she no longer has a badge and a gun. But she still is on the public payroll, which means local taxpayers are paying to have this liar and soon to be, hopefully, convicted felon on the payroll. And that leads us to Daryl Repress, who is a former Savannah Police Department detective. He was fired for several ethical violations and is now facing 6 criminal charges.
This evening, Daryl Repress, the former Savannah Police Department detective fired for several ethical violations, is now facing 6 criminal charges in Chatham County. SPD fired Repress back in September for 9 policy violations, including an admitted sexual relationship with a convicted felon, taking part in the purchase and sale of stolen items, and lying about it. Now, he's indicted on 6 counts, including perjury, violation of oath of office, and making a false statement. Most of the charges stem from that SPD internal affairs investigation. Now, the perjury charge has to do with the testimony that put Jarrell Williams in jail for murder.
That accusation stemming from Repress's testimony in a triple murder case. The indictment says that while he was a detective, Repress testified in a bond hearing that a witness had identified Jarrell Williams as a person they saw fleeing the scene of a 2015 triple murder. In 2021, Williams was indicted for the murders of Anderson Mells, Gary Mells, and Johnny Green. Repress is accused of falsifying that testimony. The indictment saying the witness did not identify Williams as the person they saw fleeing the scene, only that they identified Williams as a person they were, quote, familiar with.
Savannah police fired Repress back in September for 9 policy violations, including an admitted sexual relationship with a convicted felon, taking part in the purchase and sale of stolen items, and then lying about it. Also, a local defense attorney also accused Repress of falsifying testimony that put someone in jail for a triple murder. Repress is indicted on 6 counts, including perjury, violation of oath of office, and making a false statement. Most of the charges stem from the SPD internal affairs investigation. The perjury charge has to do with the testimony that put Jarrell Williams in jail for murder. The 4-page indictment of the former SPD detective Daryl Repress is lengthy, accusing him of 3 counts of violation of oath by a public officer, 2 counts of making a false statement, and 1 count of perjury. The perjury charge is first in the indictment. That accusation stems from Repress's testimony in a triple murder case. The indictment says that while he was a detective, Repress testified in a board hearing that a witness had identified Jarrell Williams as the person they saw fleeing the scene of a triple murder. So, in 2021, Williams had been indicted for the murder of these 3 innocent people, and Repress is accused of falsifying that testimony. The indictment saying that the witness never identified Williams as the person they saw fleeing the scene, only that they identified Williams as a person that they were familiar with in the area. That's it. Oh yeah, I've seen him before. I'm familiar with him. That's a far cry from, I saw that guy. Yeah, he was leaving the scene of that shooting. Count 2, Count 4, and Count 5 in the indictment accuse Repress of having a relationship with a convicted felon and lying about it. Both of those violations of SPD policy and Georgia law.
If they were put behind bars unjustly and due to the lies or misstatements of a police officer, that's a violation of their constitutional freedoms. And our job in pursuing justice is to make that right where that has in fact been done.
Counts 2, 4, and 5 in the indictment accuse Repress of having a sexual relationship with a convicted felon and lying about it. Both of those violations of SPD policy and Georgia law. In an August 2023 interview with SPD Internal Affairs, Repress denied the relationship.
She's accusing me of one sleeping with this young lady, which is completely false.
But days later, admitted to it.
Do you guys have a romantic relationship, or have you in the past?
Long time ago. Yeah, one time.
Back to the indictment, counts 3 and 6 accuse Repress of purchasing and facilitating the sale of stolen clothing from the woman he was having a sexual relationship with and lying about that as well. Again, Repress denying the allegations to SPD Internal Affairs.
Has she ever given you clothing?
I have never got clothing from her.
But in the same interview, admitting to them.
If you had to put a dollar amount on the amount of clothes you bought, about how much did you pay for them?
Probably like $50, $60 or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot.
Violation of oath by a public officer and making a false statement each carry a prison sentence of up to 5 years. Perjury convictions, up to 10. Repress's post-certification, mandatory for police officers in Georgia, has already been revoked. Removal of officers who've committed serious ethical violations is necessary.
A system founded on trust and justice. The integrity of those who enforce the law is paramount. The recent criminal charges against these 2 police officers caught in lies serve as a stark reminder that no one is above the law. Upholding honesty and accountability within law enforcement is essential not only for delivering justice, but also for maintaining the public trust. Public trust has been shattered. It is imperative, it is crucial to reinforce transparency and integrity in policing, ensuring that those who betray their oath face the appropriate consequences. Only through such measures can we hope to restore and preserve faith in our justice system. Videos uploaded by the Junkyard News are helped in part by viewers just like you. You can show your support for this channel by clicking the thumbs up, sharing our videos. Don't want to miss a video or a story? Make sure to check us out and like us on Facebook at The Junkyard News.